Meeting come to order. Public portion of the meeting begins. The New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law was enacted to ensure the rights of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted on. In accordance with the provisions of this Act, the Business Administrator and Board Secretary has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted on the bulletin board of the municipal building, communicated to the Hawthorne Press, and filed with the clerk of the Borough of Hawthorne. Roll call, please.
Mr. Clavijo?
Here.
Ms. Goff?
Here.
Mr. Palouse?
Here.
Mr. Raisher?
Here.
Ms. Sanford?
Here.
Mr. Sciarra?
Here.
Mr. Taro?
Here.
Mr. Turco? Mr. Doyle?
Here. Would everyone please rise and join me with the flag salute, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Meeting regulations. During each regular meeting, 2 opportunities are provided for citizens to ask questions and to make comments. During the first opportunity, early on the agenda, the meeting is open to the public for the purpose of addressing items listed for approval on this agenda only. The second opportunity occurs just prior to adjournment, when citizens may address any subject matter that is pertinent to and/or directly related to the operation of the school district. Persons wishing to speak must, upon being recognized, rise, sign in, state their name, address, and subject matter. Comments and questions shall be addressed to the board president or the presiding officer and shall be limited to 5 minutes per person. The board may or may not respond to issues raised by members of the public at the time they are raised, but will provide a response if and when appropriate. The board asks that the members of the public be courteous and mindful of the rights of other individuals when speaking. Please note that the board will not respond to comments regarding students or board employees in light of the privacy rights held by those individuals. Moreover, the board discourages comments about such individuals and will not be responsible for such comments. Members of the public who choose to speak during this public session should carefully consider their comments, since they could be held personally liable for any statements they make. Finally, please note, in accordance with district policy, the board will not officially comment or respond to any matter mentioned unless it can confirm that the matter has first been brought to the attention of the appropriate school personnel in an attempt to resolve the issue. That being said, public be heard, agenda items only. All right, seeing no one, we'll move on. Approval of minutes, February 21st, 2019, a regular meeting.
Motion.
Second. Seconded. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Clavijo?
Yes.
Ms. Goff?
Yes.
Mr. Palouse?
Yes.
Mr. Raisher?
Yes.
Ms. Sanford? Yes. Ms. Sciarra?
Yes.
Mr. Taro?
Abstain.
Mr. Turco? Mr. Doyle?
Yes. Correspondence? Reports? Mr. Sprito?
I'm going to let Elizabeth.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's okay. My apologies. I didn't realize she was here.
Not really?
No.
Okay.
Not feeling that.
Good evening, everyone. This past month has been a very exciting month for Hawthorne High School. This year was the annual Mr. Hawthorne show, and the boys did an incredible job. Lucas Kowalski won Mr. Hawthorne with his motivational speech and convincing Victoria's Secret rainbow costume. And Nicholas Manzi won Mr. Congeniality with an impressive magic show and Superman performance. Student Council recently traveled to Roosevelt Elementary School for Read Across America, where Hawthorne High School students read to all grade levels. This past week, the Student Council met with students from Midland Park, Hawthorne Christian Academy, and Eastern Christian for a collaborative discussion for how to improve individual student councils. Mrs. Phibbs won the Bear Award for March, and as one of her students, I can say it is definitely well-deserved. The spring musical Bye Bye Birdie is premiering May 2nd at 7:30 p.m. with additional showtimes May 3rd, 4th, and 5th. The boys basketball team had an intense winter season, making it to the state semifinals, however, unfortunately losing 84-70 to Mountain Lakes despite a great effort from our team. The Hawthorne High School girls basketball team also had an incredible season, however lost in the first round of playoffs to Pascack Hills. The spring track, baseball, and softball seasons have all begun. It's March Madness time in the High School Library Media Center. Instead of competing basketball teams, 16 books in 4 genre brackets compete until we crown the one winner. Students and staff can vote once a week, every week, as the field narrows down. Each ballot is also a raffle ticket. Weekly raffles award the winners mini basketballs and an entry into the final raffle for an NBA street basketball. In the first week of voting, 103 participants casted their votes. At the request of the Shade Tree Commission, students are now busy creating artistic renditions of trees using varied materials such as the 3D printer, old computer parts, paint, discarded books, and wool. And finally, the library will host the Hawthorne High School NJ Makers Day during lunch periods on March 19th and 20th. That is all for this month's report. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Superintendent.
Yes, sir. Okay. We have a few presentations tonight. However, before we get to those presentations, I just want to share a few items on my behalf, and then we'll ask our presenters to come up. So I want to start, and just to echo Elizabeth's sentiments about Mr. Hawthorne, always a great event. If you haven't had a chance to see Mr. Hawthorne, I would encourage you to do so. It is a lot of fun, and I want to congratulate Ms. Russo, who organizes, spends a lot of time organizing Mr. Hawthorne. I also have to thank Tamer Mamkej and Mike Livingston, and our student videographers. We had some students videotaping the event this year, that will be, usually they post that video on our YouTube channel, on our district YouTube channel. So if you want to see what it's all about in the coming weeks, take a look at our YouTube channel, and you'll be able to see that. But again, a great event if you haven't had a chance to see it. I want to congratulate our winter sports teams, another successful season. We had a lot of success for all of our winter sports teams this year. A lot of excitement at the end of the season with our boys and girls basketball teams in our county and state tournaments. But just congratulations to our students. We always talk about how proud we are of how they conduct themselves on and off the court and how they represent Hawthorne. So we appreciate that, and look forward to a successful spring season and the nice weather, of course. I want to thank the Mayor and Council for hosting our Youth in Government program, another opportunity for our students to participate in municipal government and get a little bit of a taste of what it's like to be in municipal government. So that is hosted by, as I said, the Mayor and Council. They actually have a dinner for our students. They take them to dinner. They talk about a little bit about municipal government, and then the students actually run the council meeting. Great event. I attended. I appreciate that they run that every year, and that is on the Hawthorne TV channel. They run the council meetings, and you'll be able to view that if you're interested. I want to mention that I'll be attending the PTO meetings at all schools between the months of April and May. I would encourage you to reach out or check your PTO schedule at your school. And like I said, I'll be at each of the PTO meetings over those 2 months to talk about not only our budget, which we're going to speak briefly about tonight, and then, of course, we'll be beginning to discuss our referendum that we'll be sharing with the community over the next few months. But I will be at those events, and I encourage you to attend if you're available to gain more information, not only to hear about our budget for the 1920 school year, but the upcoming referendum. A couple of reminders of upcoming events. Washington School is hosting their yearly wax museum this Friday, and it's open from 9:35 to 11:15 and from 1:35 to 2:45. Also, the Municipal Alliance, in conjunction with the school district, is hosting a program called Addicts in Recovery, and that's on Monday, March 25th in the high school auditorium at 6:30 p.m. And finally, in March, our high school, Hawthorne High School, is hosting our second annual college fair. We have approximately 60 colleges, universities, military representatives, and the like will be at Hawthorne High School in the gym. It's a great event. We have a lot of schools attending this year, so if you have a child who is in the high school or sophomore, junior, senior, and you're interested in attending, I would encourage you to do so. Okay, so with that said, I'll now turn it over to our presenters. I'm going to ask Mrs. Trebona, Mr. Cunningham, and Ms. Weggert to speak first. So they've been working very hard on some changes at Hawthorne High School, and they'll talk about our new small learning communities. They're going to share this with you. We will be sharing this information. We had an opportunity to meet with our students at the middle school, our 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, to begin talking about opportunities that they'll have at the high school. We also had a parent night for our 8th grade parents recently, and we're going to be sharing this information through our notification system as well, so that parents can learn more about the many different opportunities and some new and exciting opportunities we'll have at the high school. So with that said, I'll turn it over to you guys.
Thank you. Good evening, I'm Kristen Trevone, I'm the Director of Education.
Billy Cunningham, principal of Hawthorne High School.
Christine Wicker, Director of School Counseling for the district, but my office is in the high school.
So the three of us have been really excited. This past school year, we have been working really hard on some changes that are going to go on in the district. And what we're here tonight to share with the board is introducing what we are now calling our small learning communities at Hawthorne High School. Basically, our idea was we need to kind of look at our overall programming and we need to make it the best fit for the students of Hawthorne. So our idea was first to look through all of our course offerings that we have and say how can we make things reachable and accessible to students and better prepare them as they move through their 4 years at Hawthorne High School. So what we're introducing with the incoming class of 2024, which are our rising ninth graders, is as they're scheduling and they're coming in, they're going to choose basically what we call a small learning community or a pathway, which they are going to focus their efforts and their studies on. We have 4 pathways. First one is biotechnology, research, and health sciences. We have business administration, communication and the arts, and government and social sciences. And one of the nice things that's a little different than most pathways or small learning communities is ours are very fluid and flexible. So a student that is coming into one of these pathways, and I'll show you what they look like, is able to say, oh, I think when I grow up, I want to be involved in law or government, and I'm going to pick my electives based on that. And after 1 or 2 courses, they realize, that's really not for me. So they could just switch. It's not like they need to apply to a pathway. It's not like when they come in 9th grade, they're slated for this pathway for their 4 years. We want to make this a very broad approach where we give them guidance, but we're also kind of helping them say, if this is a career you may be interested in, here are some courses that are going to prepare you for when you're moving on to that post-secondary, whether it's a college or a trade training. One of the things that we pride ourselves on is with these small learning communities, there's going to be a very kind of, a group of, if you want to open it, it's probably the easiest way to look at this. Let me scroll down to the first one. So this just gives an overview of what they are. This document is available over here and will be sent out and available, I believe, on the website by the end of the week. But basically what it is it's putting kids in areas of interest. It's allowing them to explore different areas, different courses that we have to offer. And this is kind of hard to see, but if you look, what this is taking across a 4-year span for our students, it's looking at, here are the courses that they need required by the state of New Jersey to gain a high school diploma. As they move across, this is biotechnology research. So there's certain science courses that they're going to have to take. They need to take 3 years of science, we recommend 4. These are the courses that we suggest. If they go in here, as you move to the 3rd and 4th column, what that's showing you is that's showing you in 9th grade, these are the electives we think you should maybe take. Try our new STEM design and process. Try computer programming and design. Something that's going to give you a taste of what that field looks like. What's really nice about that is when Ms. Wager went down to the middle school to talk to the students, they received copies of this, and on the bottom, if they don't know what job falls in that field, it lists that in this field, it would be animal service technician, data entry clerk, a genetics lab technician. What's nice is it's not only the doctor, the lawyer, it goes into the nitty-gritty of the different pathways or the different careers that a student can kind of come into. With this, we emerged about 11 new courses that we're going to be running next year at the high school that fit into these different pathways. And through the progression of the 4 years with this upcoming class, we are going to be introducing new courses so that they can complete a pathway if so desired. So all this information is over here. It will be on the website. And really, it's just a way for us to kind of have that small nature, hometown feel that the students can be with a certain group of teachers, they can move through, they have connections to talk to about careers, and they're starting to look at what they're going to do and ask those questions and get those answers and know whether this is a field for them or not a field for them.
All right, thank you. Again, my name is Billy Cunningham. I'm the principal at Hawthorne High School. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the college and career readiness opportunities that we're going to be offering at the high school.
No, back is the bottom. It's a high tempo, sorry. Oh, there you go.
So, with the college and career readiness, there's going to be less time required for high school, for the students to finish their college degree. So meaning, we're going to offer opportunities for what's called dual enrollment. So dual enrollment opportunities, if your child takes an AP course, they can qualify for AP credit. However, we're going to offer also align our courses with, say, community college, which we do not have a partnership with right now. Currently, with our dual enrollment program, we work with Seton Hall and FDU. We do not have the partnership with, say, community college, but moving forward, we are establishing that right now. So there's quite a few courses that we already offer in our program of studies that we will be able to do dual enrollment with. Now, dual enrollment, any teacher could qualify to be a dual enrollment, what's called an adjunct, if they have a master's degree, and that's pretty much it. So I'm currently in the process of having the teachers submit their paperwork to me. I'm going to send that off at the end of the month to the Passaic County Community College dual enrollment officer, and we're going to be able to certify our teachers that way. That way, when our students take courses that might not be AP level, but something like a U.S. History 1 or U.S. History 2, if the teacher does have a master's degree, they can earn college credit. And the beauty of the program is, right now at Seton Hall and also FDU, it's quite expensive. So we're talking upwards of $300 for a course. However, with, say, community college, which would still be 3 college credits, it's only $105 right now. So it's a great cost benefit. So that's something we're looking to do. Again, a little bit more about dual enrollment partnerships. Right now at Seton Hall University, we have our Advanced Media Arts course, AP Computer Science A. We also have Broadcasting 2 and Pre-AP US History. When you go over to FDU, we have AP Bio, AP Environmental, AP Italian, AP Physics 1, Italian for Honors, and Tomorrow's Teachers. Now, I put to be determined for, say, community college, because again, I am in the process of collecting that paperwork from the teachers. When I do get that, I send it off, and then we can certify them as adjunct professors via Passaic Community College. So, the beauty of this, again, is with Passaic County Community College, it's not just AP courses, there's going to be additional courses that are offered that align with our curriculum and make it available not just to the AP students, but students who might not be on the AP track, but might be interested in some other things. All right, so beyond the classroom walls. You know, we always encourage our students to get involved. We have many, many activities. We have many, many clubs and sports. So, Mr. Bono, if you could just click on that. These are some of the opportunities that we offer beyond the classroom walls at Hawthorne High School. You know, and we're of the thought that we want a well-rounded student, we want a well-rounded child. So, interclassic sports, our clubs, and our extracurricular activities, this is all aligned for you guys to take a look at as well. We offer many, many things. We promote these things. I think the best high school student is not someone who just performs well academically, but is involved in clubs and activities. So these are some of the opportunities that we do currently have. All right, so again, beyond the classroom walls, extracurricular activities help students expand their network. Another good thing with the partnership potentially with Passaic County Community College, those students who are enrolled in those courses will have access to those campuses. So in their 11th and 12th grade year, if they want to potentially take some courses on a college campus, they could do so. And that's what we're looking to do as we develop this partnership with Passaic Community College. Ms. Weigert's going to speak on the scheduling process that we've changed a little bit.
So as Mr. Spirito had mentioned, we have actively been rolling this out to our middle school students, specifically our current 8th graders, who are going to be our first grade venturing into the small learning community. So we started with a parent program where we invited 8th grade parents to come in so we could speak to them in detail about the small learning communities, as well as just simply the scheduling process and the classes that their students are going to be taking when they come up to the high school. In addition to that, we really wanted to individualize this process for the students. So we went down to the middle school, we held classroom visits. Within those classroom visits, we talked about the scheduling process, we talked about the classes that they're going to be taking, we introduced to the students the small learning communities. But to really get them to start thinking about what small learning community would be appropriate for them, because it's a really big question. What do you want to do when you grow up? What do you want to do as a career? Many students are still exploring that. Many students are still thinking about it. Some students really know what they want to do and other students don't. So we introduced to them a career interest inventory, where students answered questions about their interests. And they learned more about what their career profile looks like. Are they investigative? Are they artistic? And what are some careers that would match up with their career profile? And again, this is very fluid. Things are going to change over the years, but it really gave them a starting place to start thinking about what small learning community would be appropriate for them. And then finally, over the course of the past week, what we did differently this year, we always went down to the middle school for scheduling, but we wanted to make this more meaningful. We invited the parents to come in for the scheduling process. And we had those career interest inventories available, so in the event that a student really wasn't sure what pathway they wanted to potentially pursue, counselors had those career interest inventories that they could reference. They really spoke more to what these small learning communities look like, so that students coming into the high school can start off with a small learning community and have an idea in terms of the classes that they will need to take. What does their next 4 years look like if they're planning on pursuing a specific pathway, a specific career? So it's been a wonderful experience. We've had the parents in, and I think it's really just created a more collaborative process for the scheduling process and really building a better transition for our students to come up as well. So I know we have a lot of Roosevelt students and parents here. We're really excited to be, introducing this process to you, because you're going to be, in this process very, very soon. And we're just really excited to roll this out to you all, and looking forward to working with you all in the future as well.
Any questions from the board members?
I just want to say thank you, on behalf of the Curriculum and Instruction Committee, which I've been on for 7 years, along with Bruce. So many things that we have wanted to see come to fruition are happening before our eyes. You started last year, Christine. You two started this year. You wasted no time. I can't thank you enough. So all of your hard work is very appreciated. I just want to let you know. Thank you.
The only thing I'll add, I think they covered it pretty well. I know some of you are probably sitting here saying my child's in, 3rd or 4th or 5th grade. Why are we here? But I will tell you, take it from someone who has 1 in college, 2 in the high school, and 1 in the middle school. It goes very, very quickly. Before you know it, you'll be thinking about high school. So I thought it would be a great opportunity for you to hear a little bit about what's going on. We're going to be sharing this in many different ways in the coming weeks. But again, I appreciate you guys being here tonight to share all that you've done, and I appreciate all your hard work. I know a lot of time went into this, and I want to thank you for that. So, well done. Thank you. Thanks, guys. All right, and now I will turn it over to Mr. Pizzicane. I know hopefully everyone got a copy of the Rough Rider Review. There are copies in the back if you don't have one. I'll turn it over to Mr. Pizzicane to educate us about.
Okay, if I could have the student newspaper staff come on up, that'd be great. Yeah, you're on the staff. Sure. I have one here.
Oh.
Can you hear me? We're gonna use a microphone, even though some of the kids don't want to use a microphone. Some of them do. It's pretty funny, but I think we're gonna use it just to make sure everybody can hear us. It's important. You guys did a lot of work. So I don't want to steal the thunder. You're going to learn all about the Rough Rider Review, what it is, what went into making it. But I just want to take a moment to thank you all for coming to Roosevelt School for the Board of Education meeting. I also want to thank our Rough Rider Review staff, including our student reporters, our student photographers, and our teacher editors, some of which are here tonight. They did an amazing job this year getting the first issue out. We hope we get another issue out. And hopefully you'll enjoy the presentation. So we're going to begin with, I believe, Jose, right?
Who is the Rough Rider Review? Staff reporters: Emma Bangu, Jose Dominguez, Keelan Lumbo, Andrew Maskell, Emily Mosquera, and Daniel Utter.
Staff editors: Mrs. Alessandro, Mrs. Daniel, Mrs. Haskell, Mrs. Loiza, and Mrs. Zachary. Photographers: Gianni Cruz, Jake Melendez, Madeline Murphy, Natalie Pena, and Catherine Williamson.
Why student newspaper? Roosevelt School is a big and busy place. The Rough Rider is a great way for people to stay on top of what is going on. It is also a great experience for us to use the skills we learned in school, like writing, interviewing, and proofreading. We also get a chance to be creative and just have fun. The Rough Rider Review, March 2019 issue. From our first meeting to its publication, the March issue of the Rough Rider Review was a total team effort. The teachers acted as editors-in-chief and the students acted as journalists and photographers. It was an amazing experience and we want to go over some of the highlights of the latest issue. We hope you enjoy. TREPS. TREPS was held at Roosevelt School in December of 2018. TREPS is like a business where kids can learn to be entrepreneurs. During TREPS, we would handle money and give people change if they needed change. People from all 3 schools came to shop. It was fun for a lot of people, and some kids were featured on TREPS' Facebook account. Writing this article was fun as taking part in TREPS. Roosevelt Teacher of the Year. For this issue, I interviewed Mrs. Daniel. She had been elected Teacher of the Year by the school community. I asked her some basic questions like how long she has taught and if she expected to become Teacher of the Year. It was very interesting to hear her answers. It was great to talk with Mrs. Daniel and learn about her life. All in all, the staff interviews will definitely be a great thing to read in the papers, and I thought it was very fun. For the student-teacher polls, I interviewed 1 teacher and 2 students. Then the photo fanatics that were with me took pictures of the people that I interviewed. Finally, I asked them their name and grade in class. It was great to meet new people and learn about their thoughts.
What is Photo Fanatics? The Photo Fanatics is a club for the 5th grade to take pictures for the yearbook and the school newspaper. Being in the Photo Fanatics is a responsibility. You have to take the right shots and you have to be very careful with the cameras. Also, being in the Photo Fanatics is very fun.
We gotta go around the school and take photos of students. It was a chance to see what it's like to be a photographer. Oh my gosh. Photographer. Photo Fanatics would take pictures for assembly or fun days, like Crispy Hair Day, Hat Day, Orange 100th Day of school.
We thought having a recipe section in the paper was a good idea since so many people love food. Recipes are a part of everyone's life. We use recipes to make almost everything. You need recipes to make cookies, cake, etc. Recipes are fun for almost everyone. It is amazing to have new recipes to make for you and your family. First, Caitlin added hummus and fruit and oatmeal raisin cookies. Emily added quesadillas, and Emma added pastiche, pasta pie. Although we would like to list the ingredients in the recipes here, you have to read the newspaper. You sure will find an interesting snack, dinner, lunch, or dessert. Roosevelt Fun page. The Fun page is a great way to express yourself and have fun. You can put in numerous things such as riddles, poems, art, pictures, and much more. In this issue, students contributed in a number of ways.
Emma wrote her own poem. Emily made riddles, and Jose, Daniel, and Andrew took care of sports trivia. The Fun page was a great extension to our already amazing newspaper. For the school-wide newspaper, Emily, Andrew, and Daniel asked kids from K through 1 what their favorite sport was. They then asked all the teachers the same thing.
Finally, Mrs. Zaku set up a Google Forms questionnaire to ask all the other kids. They then tallied up their scores. The results were surprising. can use some good advice. That is why we have a section in the Rough Rider, Dear Teddy. This is a column where kids can ask anonymous questions and get advice. It is good because sometimes people don't want anyone to know they have a problem. Also, it makes us good to try to help people.
In this issue, Teddy gave advice to one student who was having a problem with two best friends who argue a lot. Another student got the help about the topic of name calling. Teddy hopes he can help more kids in the next issue.
Earlier we said that in Photo Fanatics, we get to take pictures for many events in Roosevelt School. The best part about Photo Fanatics, or as I like to call it, Photo Fun Addicts, is that we get to do special things such as attend meetings like this one and get special badges. In general, my favorite part is taking pictures and getting to see everyone's beautiful smile.
I feel proud of my and everyone else's work. I had a great time writing about a bunch of different things. It was a fun experiment to do this, and I hope to do it again. It was a great opportunity to learn things and see how newspapers are made. This is something I want to do for a long time. We hope you enjoyed this presentation on the Rough Rider Review. These were just some of the articles in the paper.
We have given each board member his or her own copy so you can read about the things we discussed tonight and many other articles as well.
You can read about current threats, the game cave, the lunar eclipse, technology, Passaic County poster contest, and the 100th day of school.
Do we want to ask questions of them, or do you guys want to answer questions? You do?
I have a question. Good. How did you come up with the topics that are in the paper, in the newsletter?
I have no idea.
Does anybody know how you get topics in?
We looked at things that people liked and topics that come up, such as for the science one, the lunar eclipse was a recent event, and Dear Teddy was some people, like in general, people have troubles they need help with. The trends are trends that people are looking into, and much more.
Did that answer your question, Mrs. Scott? Mrs. Scott?
How often do you publish the newspaper?
We usually publish the newspaper once or twice in the year.
Yeah.
So you'll publish another one this year?
That's our goal.
Okay, I'll be on the lookout.
Mr. Padilla?
The recipes on the newspaper, which one is your favorite one?
Quesadillas.
Anybody else? Pasticcio? Show of hands for Pasticcio. That's my vote.
I don't know what it is.
Any other nominees? No? Sure. Any other questions? Mrs. Murphy?
Any plans to make it electronic so that it can be on the website for parents?
It is on the front page of the Roosevelt website right as we speak. So if you want a color copy, you got to pay for the ink. We distributed color copies to grades, I believe 4 and 5, or yes, I got to look at the teachers who did it all. And then we distributed black and white copies to 3rd grade, and we have a bunch of other copies around the school as well in black and white. Any other questions? Okay. Great job, everybody.
All right, folks, thank you so much for coming tonight. This was a fantastic presentation. We're going to take a little break right now. If you'd like to join us, we have some water and some snacks over here. Spend some time, talk with everybody. Please join us. All right, next up on our list is the review of the 2019-2020 budget. Mr. Spreeland?
Yeah, so just quickly, I'll turn it over to Ms. Engel in a second. I just want to just comment quickly. I know everyone received the copy this past weekend about the proposed budget. Obviously, the plan for this section of our meeting is just to allow any board members, if they have any questions or anything they want to ask Ms. Engel or myself or Ms. Sanford, with the finance chair, obviously. This is thought it'd be a good opportunity to allow you that opportunity to ask any questions. So I'll turn it over to Ms. Engel.
Okay. All right, so everyone received it over the weekend. Just to go over a few things, the highlights of the budget. This budget supports 2 new special ed teachers, one for the middle school and one for the high school. Increased resource hours, both at Roosevelt and Washington, a new bus for the district, a supervisor for STEM and math. Okay, the budget came in under 2% at 1.74. Okay, so you have 2 sheets. We're going to do the first one. That's a single page, the revenues. Okay, now just on the first page, basically everything is relatively the same. We did receive $95,888 additional state aid this year. If you look on line 5, that number has increased. Our interest, interest on investments, and that's because we do have capital reserve, maintenance reserve, and interest rates have gone up, so we've been able to make some extra money on that. So does anyone have any questions on the revenues? So that's really pretty much straightforward. Okay, then the other sheet, the one that's stapled, the appropriations. Okay, and every page is numbered, so I'll go page by page with you. The first line, line 1, that's for our charter schools. So we have 6 students attending that. On line 2, that's our tuition that we're sending to PCPI. This year we had budgeted 73 students. We ended up having 84 students attend. And next year we're anticipating 106 students. And that's an increase of $383,000 that's coming out of our budget. You see line 4 is all the other tuition for out of district. I guess line 14 regarding evaluations, therapies, that includes our PT, extra evaluations that we need, extra therapies. Line 17, this year I put all the paraprofessionals in one area for you, so you didn't have to go looking from here to there. And this budget will support 95 paraprofessionals, 33 are contracted.
Is that an increase from last year, Trudy, the 95?
It's an increase from when we started budgeting last year,
Okay.
but this year that's the amount of numbers, hours we have.
Okay.
And just so you understand, when I build the budget, I don't just take the numbers we used last year. I take the budget from 0 and I build it up. I speak to all the administrators, Jessica Pinatello, we go through every special ed line by line. As far as the salaries, I build it based on each individual, not on what we spent already.
Trudy, I have just one question. On line 14 on page 1, you mentioned the contracted services. We decreased it by about
Yes.
$80,000. That's the same, we're okay with that number?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
I went through it with Jessica.
Okay.
And yes.
Are we asking questions now, or are we asking questions when we go
Yeah,
through the
no,
whole
you can
process?
ask questions.
You can ask questions whenever you want.
Go ahead.
Right. I wanted
I
to make
thought
sure
it'd be
the
easier if we
flow.
do it by
Page
page,
by
because
page.
as opposed to
Okay.
doing them all at the end.
All right,
Yeah, I think that's better.
Okay, so then before we proceed, I do want to identify, have almost a $400,000 increase, PCDI. It's kind of scary, but it is what it is. On the therapies and vows, I noticed that it was an $80,000 decrease. Am I reading that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And what was that based on?
These are numbers that Jess goes through her population of students, and she determines what we need, and that's how the numbers come up. It's not from what we used last year, it's from the situation she thinks we'll be having next year.
Perfect. Okay. And also the same thing goes for line 18, Trudy. I noticed there's a significant reduction.
Yes, that reduction is because that line 18, includes a lot of our out-of-district one-to-one paraprofessionals. And if you have a student that switches their out-of-district placement, and because they switch their out-of-district placement, they may not necessarily need a para.
Okay, good. That's awesome. Thank you.
Any other questions on page 1?
The one that I had regarding the supplies, obviously I see it says software licenses and curriculum. Could you speak to that a little more?
That's just for the one-to-one. That's for students that need one-to-one services. So if it's like apps or curriculum, it's for a student that, let's say they have an iPad and they need a special app on that iPad for them. That's not for all your special ed supplies, that's just for your one-to-one supplies. When the budget is made, you have to put things in certain areas, that's dictated by the state. So those supplies, the software licenses, it's for someone, let's say someone has a device that has a hearing device, okay? Like an amp or something, and they need special software, that would be part of that.
Am I attributing that to increased, increased quantity of children in that program, or is it just for the software?
It's for
this year?
for both.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it could be a combination of the two. Right.
Page 2. Anyone have any question on page 2?
I have one question, Trudy. Or maybe this is for Rick. Line 34, I see that we're adding a math STEM supervisor. Awesome. How many supervisors will that make in total?
Well, technically, we don't, it's really one, that's our only,
That's what I
because
thought.
our other
It says-
positions are directors, our director of ed, our director of
But
special
we
services.
do have other people supervising other areas.
Correct, but we don't have any other supervisors with that title.
Just that one title.
Correct.
Okay. Also, I put a smiley face in my notes for line 40, professional development. I appreciate the increase. I would like to see us increase more, but if that's what we think that we need, then that's fine with me.
I'll confirm the smiley face.
It's here, there is a smiley face in my notes section.
And some of our professional development also comes out of our title fund
Right,
as well.
but I just like to see that we even are forward-thinking enough to add the extra $11,000.
Rick, I have a question about that supervisor of STEM and math. I don't have a smiley face, but the supervisor of STEM and math.
Okay.
Of like, because it is a new position, like,
Yes.
what would be your vision for that position, and like, what is that going to allow us to do in the future that we don't like do now because we don't have a supervisor of STEM?
Well, the goal would be, there's really multiple roles that person will play. Number one, they will oversee all of our STEM programs throughout the district, elementary all the way through high school. The fact that we now will have STEM programs at every level, I want someone to oversee that program so there's a continuity of that program from the elementary grades all the way through to the high school. That's number one. My goal is, if we could find someone with hopefully a math background, will help also in an area that we definitely need some support in the area of math, and we've talked about that back when we talked about our testing report. It's an area of need. So if we can find someone who has a math background as well, that will help in that area, overseeing the math teachers. Not every math teacher, obviously, but more specifically at the middle school and high school, to help support those areas as well. So it's multifaceted, but just preliminarily, that's how I see that position.
That's great, I'm just asking.
No.
Is that person going to be, as a supervisor, are they going to do evaluations also to help out, alleviate, like in the high school?
100%.
But there's not
100%, yes.
Okay. All right, great, thank you.
I have a few, if that's okay. Just a real quick question on 25. I noticed there's a reduction of about $36,000.
We will retire.
Okay, so the replacement's not going to earn the same?
Correct.
Okay, thank you very much. On number 29, like there was an increase of about $30,000. I'm just want to clarify.
So it's Care Plus and Mint Education. And Mint Education, there are times in the year when we need to have them come in and do education.
I don't know what Mint
Mint
is.
Education, that was our LDTC, Chase Wesley. Her company is called Mint Education, but she's an LDTC, works for us and provides some, right now she's serving a more significant role than she will next year. Now we'll have a full-time person, but there is some services that she does provide for us outside of being LDTC, the role of LDTC.
So do Care Plus's prices go up, or it was just more related to this Mint Plus?
Correct.
Okay. And last question on this page for me is We had some, a reduction on page 37, I mean, line 37. I was trying to, is that related to, well, start the STEM program? Oh, because we have the STEM program?
Right, we just switched the location of the teacher, so it just went from one line to another.
Okay, all right. No, and what line did that go to? Do you know?
Yes, I did that. It's line 140.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions on page 2? Page 3? Any questions on page 3? If I go too fast, let me know, please. Page 4?
Number 90, please.
Our boiler. Let's finish paying off our boiler.
And I also noticed on line 97, we had a pretty significant decrease. Is that based on, did our numbers come in lower this year than we budgeted for, so you just
They are.
adjusted it?
They are coming in.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions on page 4? Page 5?
Cost of the bus,
Which line?
line 120?
Yes, it includes the cost of the bus.
Yeah, what was the cost of the bus?
I'm budgeting 130,000, I don't know yet. Remember when we bought buses in the past, that was before, now buses have to have the 3-point harnesses, there's a lot of new requirements in
Right.
buses now, and I budgeted
What is, I don't recall, with the life,
15 years.
it's 15. I wasn't sure if it was 5 or 15. For some reason, I got confused, I wasn't
They
quite
have
sure.
to be
15
retired.
years.
For 15 years.
No matter how much mileage.
Right,
15
right.
years.
I knew there was a state requirement for that. I
Yes.
wasn't quite sure what it was.
Can we sell the most then?
You
Or
do, but-
We have been.
Yes,
But-
but you don't get a lot of money. for
No.
those
Yeah, you
schools.
get very little.
You get nothing.
Because other school districts can't use it
Can't
either,
use
so
it
you have to
either.
sell to a.
Partridge Family?
Yeah, exactly.
Who else get more just for parts alone?
Get a band.
Abby?
Line 132, the tuition reimbursement. I know you've explained it to me before, but the carryover conference
Means what happens is the teachers don't get their reimbursed till September. So we have to carry it
Enough for
over
2 years.
till September. So we
Okay.
pay them in September, so that 55 is for September. And it always happens.
it's only, okay.
Right, but it's $55,000 tuition reimbursement, and just about everybody's using it.
I was going to say that number, because that's the number that's been in that line
That's-
for the past,
So that's in their contract.
Okay.
Contractual.
So that amount,
and
and
we
so they
find
can't
that
go
that's
over it, and it comes very close to it.
being utilized. Okay.
Yes, it is utilized.
It
Okay,
is.
good.
It's good, yeah. Actually, I've seen more, we've had a number of new staff, a lot of turnover, especially in middle school. You're starting to see those young teachers who are taking courses
Good.
to advance themselves. Matter of fact, I just approved about 5 or 6 requests today, so.
And I know the state doesn't make it easy when they make it so that you can only approve and pay for courses that are aligned with their current position, but
Correct.
I'm very happy to see that people are taking it.
Yes, they are. Page 6. Now in the notes column, I tried to give you as many notes as possible to help explain things to you. Any questions on page 6? Page 7.
$157, that's related to the additional teachers at the high school you mentioned before?
Correct.
Trudy, for 153, the adjusted budget and was way higher than we had originally budgeted for. Is there any particular reason why?
They were just things that were purchased.
And you don't think that we will need more than the 29?
So this part was from Kristen, and she went through everything that she needed. And so no, with a new STEM program, with everything that's needed for the district, moving us forward for all the new programs, she has budgeted everything that she needs.
Okay.
and not going, I'm not asking to go back, but on page 2, she had, for all the new curriculums, page 2 has the curriculum, all the money for writing the new curriculum.
Right. And also, so the same would ring true for 155. She feels like
Correct.
that number, even though it was a much higher number last year. The textbooks, though, they probably don't have to redo them every year.
Thank goodness.
Okay.
Any other questions on page 7? Page 8?
Question? On 198, the money that we deferred, specifically, do we have an idea where we allocated that to?
That's part of the revenue.
So it's in this budget that we're talking about now?
Yes, if you go on back to revenue, on
Okay.
line 20. It's there on line 20.
Gotcha.
Now with Fund 20, at the end of page 8, line 202 through page 10, through line 244, that's, Fund 20 money. We only spend it if we get it. So those numbers, between title funds and IDA, I budgeted between 75 and 80%. For the non-public money, whatever money we receive from non-public, then the non-public schools can spend it. So that fund is really, what we get is what we spend. Anyone have any other questions?
Can you just go back to 180, just to familiarize myself? So the difference in value there, what was the cause of the decrease?
The trainer was listed twice when I budgeted.
They listed that salary twice.
Understood.
Realized that it was a mistake.
So we made the adjustment.
Yes. Any other questions?
I have one last thing. I want to say thank you to Trudy. This was exceptionally easy to read, bearing how it was a few years back when we started. And I was able to pick this up, not even being in finance, and have a good understanding. I just had some loose end questions that you put out to me, so I want to say thank you for doing such a nice job. And I also want to thank the finance committee for doing your due diligence and helping us out, as much as Mr. Spreedo. He also gets some kudos for that.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Any other questions on the presentation we just had for the budget?
I echo Mike's sentiments. Thank you to everyone who made this painless.
I have a nice statement prepared, but I want to make sure, before I say anything, let's vote on the budget. Let's make sure it passes. We're jumping around, you jumping over
Maybe
your
your
head.
statement will help it pass, Mike.
I wouldn't want to be swaying anybody. All right. We are going to move on to curriculum and instruction, please, Ann.
Pursuant to the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Committee on Curriculum and Instruction recommends the following resolutions. CI1 on page 3, wrote over it, sorry. CI2 and CI3 on page 4, and CI25 on page 11 of the addenda. On behalf of the committee, I so move.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Goff?
Yes.
Mr. Palouse?
Yes.
Mr. Reicher?
Yes.
Ms. Sanford?
Abstain on CI 25, yes on everything else.
Mr. Sciarra?
Yes.
Mr. Tara?
Yes.
Mr. Turco? Mr. Clavijo?
Yes.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes. All right, moving on to personnel. Abby, right back to you.
The following resolutions are pursuant to the recommendation of the superintendent of schools. P4 through P8 on page 4, P9 through P14 on page 5, and P26 on page 11 of the addendum. On behalf of the committee, I so move.
Second. Mr. Squire?
People leave me hanging. I don't know what's going on.
Second. Any discussion?
I got a question. P26, the track coach?
Yes, sir.
Middle school, is that the first time that he's coaching us?
He coached, he assisted with coach soccer at high school this year. This is his first assignment in this role. Yes.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Cruz?
Abstain on P8, yes to everything else.
Mr. Reicher?
Yes.
Ms. Sanford?
Yes.
Ms. Sciarra?
Yes.
Mr. Tara?
Yes.
Mr. Turco? Mr. Clavijo?
Yes.
Ms. Goff?
Yes.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes. All right, moving on, Finance and Administration. Tanya, take it away.
Pursuant to the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Committee on Finance and Administration recommends the following resolutions. F15. Do I need to read this through?
No.
Okay. F15 on page 6. F16 through F18 on page 7. On behalf of the committee, I so move.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes. Just for complete transparency, since our paper's here, we did go over the whole budget right before you got here. So I want to make sure that people knows.
She can watch the film.
Yes.
The only thing I'll add is that as far as the budget, we're very excited about that new position. It's very exciting to see how Mr. Springer has been building up the team and just seeing what that's, the fruits that's delivered thus far. Just that much more excited about seeing what that new piece of the puzzle will bring about for us. Thank you.
All right, any other discussion?
I'm not really sure at what point I need to, whether it's this or during the finance meeting, but again, I'm going to do it here, want to reiterate my thanks to Trudy and Rick and all the administration for working really hard to keep us lean and to keep us under that 2% at 1.74 for Linda, is where we ended up. I know how hard it is. This is my 4th year on finance, 1st year as chair, and I know how much work goes into preparing a budget that works for our kids, that works for our staff, and that works for our taxpayers. So publicly, I just want to say thank you so much for all your hard work, and I'm very excited to propose that we vote on this right now.
All right, any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Reicher?
Yes.
Ms. Sanford?
Yes.
Mr. Sciarra?
Yes.
Mr. Tara?
Yes.
Mr. Turco? Mr. Clavijo?
Yes.
Ms. Goff?
Yes.
Mr. Palooza?
Yes.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes. Yay, the budget is passed. All right, now I'm going to make a quick statement before we move on, before we get to claims. So just a couple points I want to make, and I want to extend my thank yous as well. I'll be brief. The proposed budget, which is now the passed budget, comes in with a 1.74% increase, significantly below the 2% cap. All right. The lowest we've been in, I want to say, the last 4 years. Would that be a fair statement, Mr. Springer?
Yes.
So this board has something, and this administration has something to be very proud of. If you recall, last year we received approximately an additional $574,176 in state aid. After much discussion, the board decided to defer $219,000 and change to the following year's budget. Based on statements made by the governor about making districts whole over the next several years, it was reasonable to anticipate on receiving the same $574 and change again this year, as well as an additional $574,000. Well, as we all now know, that was not the case. We did receive the initial $574 and change, but there was no additional $574. All we received was that $95,888, which comes out to approximately a $478,000 shortfall that we'd have to deal with. So it turns out deferring that $219,000 from last year turned out to be a very prudent decision. That extra money combined with Trudy's conservative nature to play it safe allowed her to put together a preliminary budget that could work in the event of the shortfall. Numbers were recalculated and puzzle pieces were moved around. The end result is a budget that still allows us to continue to enhance the educational experience for all students while maintaining fiscal responsibility for the taxpayer. In a year where we will be looking for support for a much-needed referendum, being able to showcase a budget that comes in significantly below the 2% cap is very huge. I just want to take this opportunity again and echo everyone else's sentiments. Thank the Finance Committee, Rick, and especially Trudy. Fantastic job. Lots of hard work was put in crafting this budget, and we're all very thankful. That's enough of my wind. We're going to move on to claims. Abby, please, claims.
Again, in accordance with NJAC 6A:23-2:11B, C3, and C4, it is recommended that the board approve the bill list for the month of March 2019. On behalf of that, I so move.
Second.
Any discussion? No discussion. All right, roll call, please.
Ms. Sanford?
Yes.
Mr. Scarra?
Yes with prejudice on vendor number 2875 and vendor 2892. Yes on all others.
Mr. Carroll?
Yes.
Mr. Turco? Mr. Clavijo?
Yes.
Ms. Goff?
Yes.
Mr. Palooz?
Yes.
Mr. Reicher?
Yes.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes. Buildings and grounds, please, Mike.
Thank you, Mr. President. Pursuant to recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Committee of Building and Grounds recommends the following resolution. On page 7, BG 20, moving on to page 8, BG 21 through BG 23. On behalf of the committee, I so move.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Scarra?
Yes.
Mr. Trauer?
Yes.
Mr. Turco? Mr. Clavijo?
Yes.
Ms. Goff?
Yes.
Mr. Palooz?
Yes.
Mr. Reicher?
Yes.
Ms. Sanford?
Yes.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes. Moving on to policy. Back to you, Abby.
Pursuant to the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Committee on Policy recommends the following resolutions. PO 24 on page 8. On behalf of the committee, I so move.
Second.
Second.
Alex. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Tara?
Yes.
Mr. Turco? Mr. Clavijo?
Yes.
Ms. Goff?
Yes.
Mr. Palooz?
Yes.
Mr. Reicher?
Yes.
Ms. Sanford?
Yes.
Mr. Scarra?
Yes.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes. All right. Moving on to committee and liaison reports. Alex, negotiations, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. As you guys are aware, the unit that's left for negotiations this year is the Administrative Assistance Unit, and Mr. Spirito is in the process of trying to schedule an appointment, time that works for us and for our board attorney. So as it progresses, we'll keep you up to date.
Okay. Thank you. Going right back to Abby for curriculum and instruction and policy, please.
Curriculum Instruction Committee met on Tuesday, March 4th at 5:30 p.m. Our first topic for discussion was this evening's presentation, the Rough Rider Review, the Roosevelt Newspaper Club. Oh boy, my internet went out. Okay, sorry, technical difficulties. There it is, I got it. Now it's saying I'm signed up.
Want to go back?
No, I got it. I think I'm good. The Roosevelt Newspaper Club will present the latest issue as they did. Student journalists will discuss articles and topics that you guys all saw this evening. Second thing we talked about was the small learning community presentation. Meetings were held with students and parents. About 85 parents were in attendance, which is huge. They started the in-person scheduling process the day of this meeting that we had. Parents have been very complimentary of the process, and the majority of parents who were invited to come did in fact come. The March BOE presentation we discussed. We will be sending that presentation to grade 6 and 7 parents, as only grade 8 parents really saw it. Bruce asked if it would benefit us to share with grade 5. There was a suggestion made that maybe the high school students could go down and do activities that would occur in various pathways with younger students, like STEM activities or these biotech activities with them. So infuse it into the elementary schools, but not really talk about the actual small learning communities. Mrs. Trebona shared with us the professional development update that had happened on Martin Luther King Day. Yoga Com had come in, and the Culture and Climate Committee members were sent, the representatives of them were sent to Turnkey, the mindfulness back into their buildings. The feedback has been overwhelmingly positive. She actually said this is the most positive feedback she's gotten thus far on PD. Everyone who attended would like further training. K through 5 will be working, did grade 5 level. K through 5 did grade level teams for Concord Mathematics. 6 through 8, this is for the March PD Day, the one that's coming up next week.
Correct.
K through 5 will be working in grade level teams for Concord Math. 6 through 8 will look at a program, program evaluations, Achieve 3000, and how they can reflect in the classroom. High school will be working to create quarterly assessments, project-based, written, or test-based in lieu of the end-all be-all final exam. Mrs. Drona also shared that in grades K through 2, DIBELS will be used, which is a reading assessment. Jess Picatello and Kristen Trebona trained all K through 2 teachers and members of the child study team. It's been really successful, and it was administered fully at the time of this meeting in Jefferson and Washington. The data was entered into a system and shared with teachers. They will start to look at data trends. Early morning remediations in elementary schools will start for grades K through 2, and this will become a part of the normal benchmarking annually for grades K through 5, actually, not just K through 2. Mrs. Trebona also shared about Lincoln Middle School data teams. Mrs. Dever went through all of the data for ELA and math by grade level. She ran morning meetings by grade level, went through personal data, and the teachers went through personal data and plotted their own students, and then talked overall about the course data. They're looking for trends and gaps. Data will be used to drive and map the curriculum. For summer assignments, we discussed, we are looking at summer assignments and we'll work with the staff to ensure that they are all meaningful, as they always have been, and will continue to be going forward. Teachers and administrators will start discussing this during department meetings going forward. And lastly, we spoke about, I'm sure someone else is going to speak about the Atlantic Stewardship Bank. Is someone going to talk about that, or should I talk about that? Okay, we talked about the Atlantic Stewardship Bank donation. They so graciously donated $12,000, and they would like to have that go for security. So we will be using that as part of our Alyssa's Law, which mandates that all public elementary and secondary schools have both a silent panic alarm and exterior and interior strobe lights. So Rick had gotten a quote for 25 strobe lights, and that was $21,000, and we will be using Atlantic Stewardship's gracious $12,000 toward those strobe lights. That was all.
Thank you very much. Anthony, family engagement, FCPAC, and PTOs.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before I go on, I just wanted to comment on what Abby said. My wife went through the presentation for 8th grade, and then we did the scheduling, and it was a great presentation. And just seeing and enlightening yourself about all the courses that we have to offer and the different pathways and channels. My daughter wanted to take everything, but we kind of honed her in a little bit. But it was definitely a great presentation. They did a wonderful job, and just want to give kudos for that. So moving on now to family engagement. We had a meeting tonight. We did discuss continuing to promote all the ongoing developments and positive events and activities that we currently have been offering, and we're going to continue to move forward and find better ways of getting the information out so people are more aware of what we do have to offer, parent evenings and things like that. So next week, next meeting, we'll hopefully be able to give you more details. Moving on to F. HEF is continuing the progress towards their second annual food truck festival. Mark your calendar, that's going to be May 19th. And moving on to CPAC, also in May 5th, will be the 4th annual color run. Always a great event. Hopefully you guys can come out and enjoy that evening as well. CPAC is also continuing the collection of pull tabs for the Ronald McDonald House project. So if anybody has any tabs, please feel free to bring them into any of the schools. And also the Lewis Bay Library has a collection bin there as well. And then last but not least for CPAC, on March 27th from 7 until 9 p.m. at the library, Hawthorne Library, there will be a caregivers workshop. And basically what they're doing is they're bringing in different practitioners and local yoga instructor, a Reiki practitioner, which I believe is like alternative medicine, energy healing, a chiropractor, some other mental health practitioners as well. And the email that I have here says stay tuned. Hopefully they're going to be adding some more. But again, that's March 27th, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. at the Lewis Bay Second Library. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony. Moving on, Buildings and Grounds and New Jersey School Boards. Mike, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Building and Grounds Committee met on March 5th, and we continued discussing the project list. Just to give you some updates, the lifts, which are from Lincoln Middle School to High School in Jefferson, we are going to work on for this year the 2 lifts at Lincoln. The parts have been ordered, and installation will begin as soon as they arrive. Bathrooms at the high school, the committee administration felt that we needed a little more time to communicate with our architect solutions and also to see the availability of contractors and also understand the scope of how big this project is going to be. With the completed renovations, right now we've considered this project to be on hold and waiting for more information. The locker rooms at Lincoln Middle School. These locker rooms are in desperate need of repair. They're dingy, they're dark, and they're not even our colors. They're green, lime green at that.
Oh, yes, they are.
And they're used by our students every day. So this project includes a floor, lighting, bathroom facilities, so on and so forth. The project will start this summer. The Jefferson classroom split. We've mentioned this on previous board meetings. We believe that there's more time we need to be involved in the scope of this project. There's a lot involved. When we talked about splitting, we're looking at potentially a type of barrier that would be partition, but we don't know how it's going to be soundproof. We understand that another school, I think it's Glen Rock, am I correct, Mr. Correct. Glen Rock has that, so we're going to go and check that out and see who will provide, what we need. It's not only providing the double space of a large classroom, but also the sound effects. There was also some additional needs for a safe place for special needs students that have meltdowns. So that was a concern that we're looking into. So right now, there's a lot more information required before we consider this project. So that project is considered on hold right now. Interior doors at the high school and Lincoln Middle School, and the cafeteria doors at the high school. These doors are provided safety and security concerns. The project will start ASAP. As soon as we have all the parts and everything in order, it's going to be running. Washington School gym floor. Right now, we decided to hold off on this project. We do want to continue starting with the water barriers. As we mentioned in previous board meetings, there's potential of flooding in that rear door of the Washington School. So we've committed to getting, there's a barrier that has gaskets that will adhere to the sides and stop water coming in. So we're going to start with that, and then we'll review this later in the year and decide how we're going to proceed. And I also want to mention, just as C&I mentioned about the security strobe lights, this is a state requirement. It is part of the new Alyssa's law. And we were fortunate enough to have a very handsome donation, and I don't mean that in a Sussex way. A very nice donation by Atlantic Stewards Bank, more than half of what the whole project will cost. So we want to say thank you, and we appreciate it. And all financial components of these projects will come from the financial committee, but you probably won't hear it tonight because it's probably all budget related. So. And that concludes my report on buildings and grounds. As far as New Jersey school boards, there are some things to report. New Jersey School Boards has a couple of meetings and events going on. One is scheduled for Thursday, April 4th, and it's called "Are You Ready for Your Future?" Are You Ready for Your Future Ready? This session engaged on participants in creating or enhancing their school digital learning environments. Leaders from schools and districts across New Jersey will network, collaborate, and join community dedicated to the best preparing their students for success in college, career, and citizenship in the digital age. And that is, again, April 4th between 9:30 and 3 p.m. Then on April 5th, there's another event, School Public Relations Forum. It's about building community support for your district financial proposal. And this is in regards to referendum, school districts that are going through referendum. And that is, again, April 5th. It starts at 8:30 and completes at 12 noon. And last but not least, New Jersey School Boards is putting on a school mental health conference on April 9th at 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. It will address risky behaviors, expressions of depression, and thoughts of self-harm that children of all ages are experiencing. And that concludes my reports. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Moving on to Legislative, Finance, and Administration. Tanya, please.
So as you can well imagine, our finance meeting consisted strictly of going over the budget, but I'll quickly read some of the highlights. We met on March 7th. We received the numbers from the state. This year we got an additional $95,888 on top of the $574,165 that we got last year, bringing our total to $670,053. The budget was presented, administration scaled down what they could, and as a result, we were able to add 3 new positions and increase the resource teacher at both Roosevelt by 0.5 and Washington by 0.2. Positions added were STEM supervisor district-wide, special ed teacher at the high school, and a multiple disabled teacher at LMS. The budget is coming in at 1.74%, keeping it under the 2% cap. One other thing that we quickly discussed was that we need to come up with a plan B in case the referendum does not pass. There are projects that are necessary and need to be done. So we talked about potentially using bank cap next year. There's about $1 million available to us. It's not going to cover nearly enough, but it will be helpful. As for legislative, again, the numbers came out from the state. The total educational formula aid would increase by $206.2 million under the proposed state budget. The state is required by law to adopt a budget by June 30th. There's not really much more that we haven't said over and over again. So the only other thing, part of the budget increase, part of the components are pension obligation. Murphy's contribution to the teacher's pension and annuity fund would increase by 28.1%, or $323.8 million, which I thought was interesting. And revenue. Last year, the state enacted a millionaire's tax on incomes over $5 million. This year, he wants to extend the tax to incomes over $1 million. By lowering the tax threshold to include more people, the governor estimates that $447 million in revenue would be added to the budget. Just some food for thought. That's all I have.
Thank you, Tanya. Marco, any crossover on the council level?
I do not have a report this month.
Okay. I'll quickly report on referendum. Our architect, that's the word I'm looking for. The architects are moving forward with the designs and plans for a lot of the projects that we're looking to do with this referendum. They're also filing the necessary paperwork and getting that in order, so we're moving forward in that respect. The committee will be meeting very shortly over the next couple of weeks to start strategizing about how we're going to be rolling this out to the various entities of the community. We're also looking, as Mike mentioned, there's a seminar being held April 5th. The topic is referendum and community relations and a lot of the ins and outs, so hopefully some of us are going to attend that and pick up some pointers and some positive things that maybe help us move this referendum along. That's all we have for that right now. And that's it for committees. We're going to move on to public be heard. Come on up. No problem. If you could just sign in for us, please.
Sure.
Thank you.
My name is Megan Kearns, and I live on 189 North Ethel Ave. So as you might guess, my concern is the footbridge. I want to start by saying my thoughts and prayers go out to the people who were injured. But in all due respect, also, my child comes here to Roosevelt, and my concern is, how do I get her here safely? Now, I do have an article from the record that I believe you gave a little insight on. It says, because the bridge is impassable, Goldberg said, students have been walking via the Goffle Road underpass this week. The superintendent tells me there's not a lot of students over there right now that go to Roosevelt, the mayor said. And I also had something I would like to read. State law NJSA 18A, colon 39-1.5 requires school districts that provide courtesy busing to adopt a policy addressing the busing of students who walk along hazardous routes between their homes and schools. The policy must include a list of hazardous routes that require courtesy busing and the criteria used in designating the routes as hazardous. In New Jersey, routes are considered hazardous based on criteria such as high traffic volume, traffic speed, roads with blind curves, or steep inclines and declines, lack of sidewalks, presence of bridges and train tracks, and busy roads or highways that must be crossed to reach the school. School districts must work with municipal offices and police officers when designating a route hazardous. So my question is, how do I get her here safely? Is there busing? There's no sidewalks, and it's very dangerous. As you guys may know, not too long ago, a man was hit at the intersection of Gopher Road and Douglas Ave one evening on his way to Dunkin' Donuts. Now my concern is what happens. I also have 2 other children with me. When I have to pick up my daughter, I would be devastated if something happened to any of us or my husband trying to pick up my child from school. So if I can get some insight on that.
All I can tell you is it's a fair concern. Obviously, this is very recent. We don't have courtesy busing. I know the code that you're referring to. Our busing is based on the required over 2 mile requirement.
Understandable, but the bridge is down and that's my walkway, and
Completely
we should have a
understand.
walkway
And
to school.
Completely understand. It's not
And
something
my
that,
walkway is very hazardous.
completely understand. It's not something that the board or administration has discussed. Obviously, it's a very recent occurrence. This is our first board meeting since that event. It's something that we can discuss as a board, absolutely. But it's just not something we've had an opportunity to discuss at this point. I appreciate you bringing it to us.
Okay, because, this is also affecting our daily life. When I work, he works. Just our schedule, it really affects us, and I don't want to end up losing my job because of getting to work on time due to picking up our child.
Do you know how many school-age children live in that area?
I know on my road there is another young person who comes to this school. I'm not sure on North 4th.
There are a number of, the mayor asked me, are there a large number of students? I said there aren't a large number, but there are students who absolutely avail themselves of that bridge. There's no question.
I know there's at least one middle school student that lives over there too.
So, but again, it's something that we can discuss as a board, it's just we haven't had the opportunity to do so, but I appreciate
Is
it.
there a way that I will get some answers?
Sure, if you have your information there, we'll communicate with you once we've had a chance to discuss it.
It's a topic we're definitely going to discuss. We're going to discuss it seriously, and someone will definitely contact you with some insight and how we're going to proceed.
I would appreciate that, thank you.
How much longer is your commute?
I go to Preakness and Wayne, so it's about a 20-minute commute. I'm supposed to be there by 3, but my child gets out at 3, so by the time I get them home and go to work, I get there like 3:45 sometimes.
And going around through Goffler Road, how much longer does it take you to pick up?
If it's walking, that's the issue, is that it's very hazardous. There's no walkways, sidewalks.
Yeah, familiar with it.
It's very hazardous, so I will not take that from you. Thank you.
Is that bridge governed by the highway?
State. And to be perfectly honest, that bridge will be closed for the foreseeable future.
Right.
I don't anticipate it being fixed anytime soon.
Right.
Understandable.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, have you brought this up to the town council, mayor at all? Have you addressed their?
I actually left a few voicemails with the mayor, but I have not received anything back yet.
Something we may want to collaborate with them as well. Maybe we'll reach out to them and have a conversation with them as well.
Just to, in the meanwhile, because obviously this is not something that can be decided immediately,
No,
so, obviously we're going to talk about it and try to work with you and get your children here safely, but I don't know if you're on the Roosevelt Facebook page, or it's a great community, and there might be parents willing to help with the back and forth of dropping off and picking up. I have seen that where a parent has reached out and said, can anybody pick up my child for me today, or just to give you guys some assistance and some help in what you're doing temporarily, not a permanent solution, but if it will help, I suggest you, get on that page and maybe see if you can gather some, support there.
Anyone else in the public have anything they'd like to talk about? All right, seeing no one, we're going to move on to general comments and questions from the board related to the school district. Start down by Anthony.
I just want to say that I am smiley face all over the place about all this great stuff that we're doing at the high school, about the new courses, about the new, the newsletter at Roosevelt and the stuff at Washington, and I'm just really happy and proud to be a part of this board, so just wanted to say that.
I also want to reiterate, my son is part of that class of 2024, so he's fortunate enough to be part of the small learning communities and scheduling, and it's all fantastic. So many right things about how it's being rolled out now. So I also want to thank Mr. Pies again, Ms. Pizarro, for hosting us tonight, doing the cookies in the water. They're not quesadillas, but I also had a chance to read at the Jefferson School this afternoon. So thank you for the opportunity. My kids are getting bigger, and you forget how it is to be in a classroom with kindergartners. Just so much energy and questions and comments. So it's certainly appreciated.
Very true.
That's it. Thank you.
Okay. Oops. Mike?
I just have,
yes.
That's okay. I just have one quick thing, actually, I forgot to mention last meeting. But the Lincoln Middle School put together this news show that they did. It was like a monthly news review. Mr. Bertolini and Erica Rink, the media specialist. And it was excellent for I think it was like 10 or 12 minutes. They did all these stories in the school, spoke to all these different people. This was the first time that they had done it. And then I don't know how many more they're going to have, but they wanted to, continue it. And it was very well done.
Great. Hey, Mike.
Yeah, I have a few things. I first want to acknowledge and thank Mr. Pizarro and Mrs. Pizarro. You guys, again, impress the heck out of us. It's always good to see the kids. They're so polite, well-spoken, and this is just phenomenal. It really is. They put a lot of work into it. Great job. I also want to acknowledge Mr. Sprito and his administrative staff. I did go to the initial rolling out of the small learning communities when it was at Lincoln Middle School. And it's so nice to see all the directions that we're headed. This is a great program. Just event after event, we're trying to reach out to the community and we're trying to touch them. And this is just another piece of that puzzle. So I want to say thank you and great job.
Thank you.
The only other thing I want to acknowledge is that I was able to attend Mr. Hawthorne last Friday night, and again, did not disappoint. So if you haven't gone, and you have to get your tickets early because it does sell out, it's worth the price of admission, which is only $5, by the way. Thank you.
I just wanted to thank everyone again for tonight. It was very informative as far as the Rough Rider review and also the small learning communities. Definitely got a lot out of it, and just wanted to also give kudos to the Jefferson PTO for last week's Tricky Trade dinner dance. It was a great event, and I had a great time, even though I didn't win anything.
Ditto. I was there and also did not win anything, but it was lovely, and Jen Doyle does a lovely job.
Yes.
I also had the tremendous opportunity to come read to my daughter here. to her class, and they're very sweet. And I am in the classroom every day, and it's just different. These kids are respectful and sweet and polite and want me to read. My students don't want any of those things. And also, I cannot give high enough accolades, and I wish we could get it onto the TV somehow. The 3rd and 2nd grade concert that was put on was unbelievable. The theme was Disney, and I mean, I have never seen anything. I've been to a bunch where you're like, oh, yay, is it almost over? This one was, I mean, just tremendous. They always put on such a great show, but this one, even my daughter said, Mr. Paisley said this was his favorite. And I think you were sincere because...
I say that every one, I mean it every time, but this time I really...
They do just keep getting better, but this one was
Costume changes.
unbelievable. And
That's all.
so if you guys ever get to come to one, I highly recommend coming
I
here.
thought Mr. Peisenkamp's jokes were the best I've heard.
I said that to him. I said, you're getting better.
Since I've started.
Yes.
He's got a writer now.
You had a theme for the jokes, which was that was what I think made it better.
Yeah, well, Disney.
This is first intermission ever.
Best I've heard.
Disney makes everything
I
better.
had the stall, it was... I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Tonight, before we
How's it feel?
end this, I'm sorry to jump back in, but I forgot about the concert, which I, again, want to reiterate what Abby said, it was amazing, but is there a way, I mean, there needs to be a way, because can we record these and sell them to the parents for like $5? Can we have the kids at the high school come and do it as a broadcasting project or something? Because I would love to have a copy of that. I mean, I did it on my phone, there's like 42 clips of, 3-minute songs, but I would love to have
Challenges
like
is
a
getting
real
kids
one.
to do it. It's just, the high school kids have a lot of stuff going on, and it's to try to get kids at all of these events.
Even if like the
What's
money
that
went to
taper you said you'll come in and do it for us? Is that what I heard you say?
That's why-
give the money to the broadcasting club or pay team or like.
It's not about the money, these kids are stretched very thin. They have sports, they have clubs, they have, honor society stuff, they just don't, that's why Tamer's here doing this.
Right, just that was our challenge of trying to get a high school
Challenge.
student to...
And it's not that they don't want to do it,
this.
it's just finding time to come to all these events, because then you'd have to record
All the concerts.
every concert, it's just trying to find the time for them to do it.
Yeah.
Can we clone Tamer?
Can we clone Tamer?
Yeah.
But is there also a copyright issue? I
There
mean, all of
may be,
those
but
songs
it's,
were copyrighted.
it may be,
So,
I don't know.
I
It's
mean-
more of a,
Well, this is
I hear
the
what
first
you're
time we
saying.
did like
I
Disney
hear what you're
songs.
saying. It's just, it's hard for the kids to try to.
Or you can just like.
Yeah.
But she's saying sell it.
Donation, if you ask for a donation to this.
It's just worth it.
Good.
Just get here. Even though there's only 2 tickets per person. Don't get here. The board can get here, but.
All right, before we go on to new business or old business, being Mikey in the middle, I don't get to say anything. Everybody gets to speak before me, so all I can pretty much do is say kiddo. I think it's evident, you see the reoccurring theme, lots of positiveness coming out of this board, a lot of positive things happening in the district, a lot of things being promoted. That's what we like to encourage, that's what we want to keep doing, that's what we strive for. It's nice to hear everybody has something nice to say, and that's what we want to promote. We'll start back down here. Abby, if you have any new business.
No, but I just want everyone to really take a look at these, and you couldn't really see it up there, and I do want to follow up. This will be put on the website,
Yes.
will be sent out. I will be personally taking this tape once it goes live and plugging that link on Hawthorne family page so people can have access to it. I mean, this encompasses everything going on at the high school, extracurriculars, everything. The dual enrolled classes are marked with an asterisk. So this is a really great document that Kristen has edited and re-edited a million times. We looked at it, we edited it, Bruce and I looked at it. I mean, really just, I can't wait for this to get out into the public.
Nothing? Mike?
Does everyone edit credits on it?
No, I do it for free.
No, I'm good, thank you.
Bruce?
No, just the biggest thing tonight, that Passaic Community College, $105 for a 3-credit course is like unbelievable. Several years ago, I would say 6 or 7 years ago, we had something similar with Passaic Community College, but at that point, I don't think there was anybody in the whole high school that had their master's degree. And I think the culture has changed, that there's a lot of people now that have their master's degrees up there that could be adjuncts there at the same time. So it's amazing, you know, that students could do that for. My daughter is actually in the Seton Hall one and the other one, and what they said is exactly true. They're $300 or $400 for, you know, the same credit. So
They also said, and correct me if I'm wrong, if we don't have the right teacher that's credentialed properly, the students can take some courses on the campus.
On campus.
For that same price.
And some will be offered even at the Wanacue campus. Not all of them are in the
Right.
Patterson campus, but there are, yes, there will be opportunities for them to take courses on campus.
So we're not even limited to our own faculty at this point. It sounds
That's
like there will
correct.
be a broader breadth of things on.
100%.
Where are we at?
New business, Alex?
Something that stood out about the small learning communities is the work that went into it. One of the things that stood out for me was, it's not just that they rearranged what we already have, but the work that went into it. And one of the things was that as a result, efficiencies were found. So, I mean, it's just fantastic all the way around. And,
Some courses were chopped, full years made to half years. I mean, you're right, they didn't just shove things in a more neat package. It definitely was rethought from the ground up.
And it's also beneficial to our guidance counselors at that point, right? I mean, because now there's a structure, right? If they don't have to make it up as they go along, there's a structure that's in front of them. And I thought it was great how they came to the classrooms ahead of time and they had a conversation with the kids, pique their interest, to try to get that, that brainstorm going. And so, yeah, fantastic.
They also mentioned they got feedback from the kids of other ideas that they hadn't even thought of, for like classes on animation and other things that weren't even included. So it was really beneficial not only to tell them, but then also to get feedback from the kids of things they hadn't even thought of.
Sure. And the formality of meeting of allowing the parent to be part of that meeting, it's almost like a send-off, right? You're entrusting them to your guidance counselor. They're going up to high school. It was just fantastic. Just the chemistry out of that meeting. So, thank you.
Just to add to that, it's the only thing I have is that, just for Linda's purpose, because I don't think she was here for that, the fact that we have 11 new courses through these pathways, they're offering 11 new opportunities for kids to learn different things, and I just think that bears repeating.
I just think that having the pathways, it gives you such a head start of knowing which direction you want to go. And based on what you've done so far in your grades and where you're headed, my daughter got to pick a couple different avenues, and then as we discussed it further at the table, we gave her all the room in the world, and she knew better what she wanted to do than we did. But it was nice to be able to see how she was coming up with the courses that she wanted to take. It wasn't just because I want to do this. It was really driven home of these two directions of where she wanted to go. And I thought it was, phenomenal. I did not have any idea what I was walking into that meeting, and I was very pleased with what I saw. Great direction.
Awesome. All right, before we move on to old business, this board's not going to meet again publicly for almost 30 days. Since this issue was brought up tonight about the bridge, and it's a safety concern, it's probably a good idea that we discuss it now. So I'd like to open up the floor for this discussion before we move on to old business.
Is it something we could evaluate the potential of actually busing some of these students? I know there's a significant cost going to be involved in doing it, but is there a number we can determine and maybe even, speak with the mayor and council and see if there's something, because it's a town problem at this point. It's something that we're all going to have to deal with, but I am very uncomfortable with having a young child, have to walk on Golfville Road. That's a scary thing.
Before you even get to Golfville Road, you have to cross
By the Dunkin' Donuts and stuff like that.
Yeah, when you're going onto North Fourth, it's scary in a car to make that turn. And now it's not a good thing at all.
We didn't ask her, is driving not an option?
I was thinking
Like,
the
I
same
didn't
thing,
wanna
but
engage
if she
in that
goes to work at
conversation.
Preakness, she's not walking to Preakness, so I'm assuming they have a car, so I didn't want to ask her either, but I wasn't sure.
I know.
I get the impression that the child's walking home that way.
I think she's going like this, in that general area.
Well,
but I have to double check. I know we had a few, but I think one moved and one went on down less. I believe she might be the only one over there.
So are they not walking anymore? Is that what they're doing? They're just...
This is the first I heard of it. I haven't.
She never contacted you before tonight? No comments?
I think, listen, I completely agree that it's a hazardous route, as she mentioned. I would 100% agree with that. I guess my feeling is we should probably, before we make any decision, determine how many kids it affects.
Yes.
Because obviously, we're not going to commission a bus for 2 children, 1 or 2 children. I mean, it doesn't make sense to do that. But maybe there's another option. I think, Tanya, your suggestion was a good one. You know, we have that in other schools where parents have difficulty, not even hazardous routes, just have challenges getting their kids to and from school, and they work with their neighbors and, other people in the community to help them. I think, one of the things I can do is just confirm, I'll talk, Mr. Prizakane, and we'll confirm the numbers to make sure exactly how many students that affects, and then we can...
Could we, one of the things I was thinking when she said, and I agree that the bridge is going to be out for a while.
Yes.
Could the possible solution be to maybe give them transportation until the bridge is fixed?
It's going to be a long time. I mean, when I briefly spoke to the mayor, when she mentioned I was in that article, I asked them, what's the timeline? He said it's going to be, they have to do an investigation in terms of what happened. They have to, they'll have to assess the bridge. They'll have to rebuild the bridge. I mean, you're talking, it's not going to be a month. This is going to be months, if not years at a time, where this bridge is not going to be.
Right, it's not even a town, it's the state.
Right, so you're talking.
Much bigger issue.
It's a much bigger issue, 100%.
No, I understand that, but I'm saying instead of, permanently we'll give anyone who lives over there transportation, whatever the timeline is going to be.
We can stipulate.
We can stipulate.
You know what I'm saying? Because once, whatever ends up happening with that footbridge, if they have to rebuild it or whatever, then it would be okay for them to,
Right, if it's 3 years, right, and the bridge is completed and up and running, then we stop the busing over there and they go back to the way it was.
While I do fully empathize and understand that this is a very individual situation, if we open up that hazardous courtesy busing, there are a lot of places in Hawthorne that are not safe to walk from. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know this is a very particular situation, but we have to be careful about, maybe we should just get the facts of who.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think we should determine that first. I agree with you. Let's determine that first, because again, we're not going to commission a bus for 1 or 2 kids. I mean, obviously, that would be a different situation. And maybe there's an alternative. I mean, but I can speak to the mayor. I know Mr. Doyle mentioned speaking to the mayor. I can do that as well. But we'll confirm numbers, and then, we can...
And if someone could just follow up with her and say,
100%.
we are, I hope she left a number or an email.
Yeah,
we
she
are
left
looking into this, whatever, open the dialogue. Maybe that would.
I will make sure I reach out to her by the end of the week, just to say that we discussed it briefly after, the end of our meeting, and we're going to do some investigating and get back to her.
If we come to the conclusion that we can assist somehow in transportation, would we consider the vans that we have versus a school bus?
That could be an option. I just, that's definitely something that could be an option, yes.
We may be able to put the child on one of the buses we already have going.
Right, one of
Right,
the
well,
ones
that's
that
what I
already
was
exists.
thinking. I was just thinking somebody's already.
It just depends on the
A couple of
But yes,
stops.
we could also maybe do that.
You don't have to do a house pickup, you could do it on the corner at that spot. Right.
Absolutely. So we can look into all of that. We'll look into our current routes, all those things, so.
Okay.
All right, so we'll have someone with an update by Friday.
So I will, like I said, I will look at the numbers. I will speak to the mayor. I will then reach out to the family and communicate with them, and I'll let you guys know.
Yes, just shoot us an email, let us know.
Thank you for bringing that up, though, because I was thinking of putting it someplace in one of these, but.
Linda just said the mayor's on vacation.
Oh, okay, well, I won't speak to the mayor.
Maybe that's why he hasn't gotten.
I'm sorry?
The mayor's on vacation.
Oh, is he?
We've got the council too, we can speak to the council president.
Sure. Okay, all right, thank you.
Anybody else? We're okay with that before we move on to all business? Where did we end off with new business? Down there, right?
Yes.
Come back. Nothing for you? No? Tanya? Alex? Good? All business, Bruce?
Nope.
Mike?
Thank you.
Mark, thank you. Abby?
I just want to thank Mr. Spirito for making the tough and often not widely liked calls on the snow days and the delays, but I think that you have always err on the side of caution, and that I think people are starting to see that, and everyone appreciates it, but they're not easy calls to make. But I thank you for being courteous and trying to call them ahead of time if you can, the night before, but saying, I'll make the call by tomorrow morning at 7:30, but this past one, good job. You're more accurate than the weatherman. So I appreciate it, and I know that the public appreciates it. Such a weird winter.
There's not a lot of sleep there.
Such a weird winter, but thank you.
No problem, thank you.
All right, no private session tonight, so, motion for adjournment.
Motion.
Second.
What do you do? I was like, I'm not gonna make it this year.
Never happened in my term. I was sitting there.
Wait. Ms. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Palouse? Mr. Palouse?
Roll call.
Say yes, Anthony.
Mr. Reicher? Ms. Sanford?
Yes.
Mr. Sciarra?
Yes.
Mr. Carroll?
Yes.
Mr. Turco, Mr. Pavio?
Yes.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right.
How did that?